Hey, everybody, and welcome to day 417. So
Hi.
today we have a special guest with us. Please say hi to John.
Hey, everybody.
And John, we are so grateful that you have joined us today.
It's been too long.
It has been too long. So thank you so much from the beginning. This is my boyfriend, John. So we started this amazing journey together at the end of 2022. And John, always being the gentleman, wanted to try out Mounjaro before me. So John, you got started like 3 or 4 weeks before me. He really did a lot of research, wanted to make sure this was safe for us. John loves learning. He does a lot of research for our community here. We've always appreciated that, but it was really important to him. This was a safe drug for him and for his girl. We had never heard of Mounjaro, but someone in the family was prescribed it. And John, how many pounds have you lost?
About 60, 67, I think, 66 or 67.
Well, congratulations. Let's look at some before pictures. So this is how we looked before, and wow, John,
Happy
wow.
changes.
Amazing job.
Thank
So
you.
people are asking a lot of questions. We have a lot of people who are just thinking about getting started or at the beginning of their journey, but
Sure.
also people who they may just be looking for some inspiration. And
Okay.
so in pops John, and he's going to share some tips for beginners with us today. And John, let's
Yeah.
just not put him off anymore. Would please share with us, and I'm excited to hear them too. What do you want to start with as a tip that you would have for a beginner?
So I just want to start out by saying these are just things that worked for me. So, or at least feel like they worked for me. So the first thing that I would say, and like, sorry not to be all over the map, but there's a lot of like little things that are going to be different from one person to the next. I know different, like people feel differently about shots, about thinking about your injection site. What's your plan for just getting more of the medicine? Like, are you using a coupon versus like there's a million things to think about. I'm trying, like when you and I talked about this, I'm sort of like trying to constrain myself to what strategies did I think of for myself, like to try and get maximum value for using the
Mhm.
med. So number one for me, what I would say, have a plan. So think ahead of time, like what do you want to eat? Not what are you eating? Not, what are you thinking about eating, but like in your ideal world, what do you actually want to eat? How would you like your food to look? Because for me, I just felt like I didn't know what I was getting with the med at the time that I got on it. It was, pretty straight up, pretty new in the world. Like there weren't that many people on it. And the way I had a conversation with a doctor who I have a lot of trust in, and the way he talked about it kind of led me to believe that I might have more freedom to eat right than I've had in the past. I think a lot of people probably are going to say the same thing that I would say here. I mean, the reason you get overweight is because you do not have control of your food, right? By and large. So not counting metabolic stuff. I mean, people can have, but for most of us. And so I just think I started out by thinking about what I wanted to do food wise. And a huge thing for me was getting away from sugar. We've talked about this in other videos and stuff, but like, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I think sugar is like super bad news for a lot of people. I think that it's really done damage to the American diet. I think, you know, there's a lot of evidence that suggests that it's not good.
Okay,
So
we're off to a strong start. That is a great tip. So
thanks.
plan, know how you're going to fuel your body. John, what is your tip number two?
I think that the next thing is like how and it continues the same thought. It's like have a plan. You've thought about what you want to do for your food. So okay, now how are you going to implement it? What are you going to actually do? And it may even be that your picture of like your ideal food doesn't end up, or like your ideal diet, I should say, doesn't end up being what you do. That's okay too. Like my perfect food plan, I'm not on. Like my perfect food plan has way more vegetables than I eat now, but unfortunately, Mounjaro did not cause me to like vegetables more than I did. So I am eating more for sure than I was, but like my ideal world, I wanted to know what that looked like. And then I thought about, okay, that's the target, knowing that I'm probably not going to hit it perfectly. What do I actually think is achievable? What do I want to do? Kind of what strategies am I going to employ to actually get it done? I'll give you and you've talked about Bright Line Eating, the book that
My
you and I
favorite
read.
book.
Yeah, you and I read it years ago, and like it gave us really good knowledge about sort of how food interacts with the body and things like
True.
that. So some great tips from the book involved weighing and measuring food. I didn't do that when I got on Mounjaro, but you did, and I think you've had more success than I have, and probably part of it's from that like good plan on your part. I mean, I've been pretty successful too, but you've like hit your goal weight. I'm still working on it. I think regardless, there's other things that it suggests, and but it doesn't matter. I'm not saying use that book. I'm just saying like have a plan. Really, actually think through what do you want it to look like. What are you doing? You know.
So kind of choose what you're going to eat and then have a plan of how your meals look.
Yeah, and yes, absolutely. And I think it's okay to extend it. Do you want to include like are there other lifestyle things that you can change that you want to change that you know you should change?
Hmm.
I'm not into like doing 40 things at once, but if you're trying to get healthy, it's like, okay, I know I'm not sleeping right. Maybe I'm going to work on that too. So because like I'm not picking that arbitrarily, guys. How tired you are affects how hungry you feel, for at least for a lot of us. So it's like if I want to not feel hungry, I need to sleep right. It sounds silly, but I do think that's how it works, at least for me. So it's stuff like that too.
I'm glad you had a chance to bring that up. So tip number 2 is really about the plan to be your
Yeah,
optimal self since you're getting this great opportunity.
yeah,
Okay, and you're gonna finish up with tip
sure,
number 3.
sure. And it continues the same theme, right? So it's like continuing my plan idea, but like the third step on an emotional level, be ready to be kind to yourself. I think that's really important. Like I haven't done everything perfect since I've been on Mounjaro, and I surely didn't do it perfect before that. I'm much better than I was. I think it helps your mindset be more positive. I think it will make you happier. I think don't beat yourself up. Like the medicine will help, and the work that you put in will help, and time will be on your side instead of against you, I think.
You do not know how timely your last point was. In the last 7 days, in fact, just tonight I was writing a video on it. People are talking about how the fear is stealing their joy, or how they're used to seeing someone in
Yeah.
the mirror their whole life, and now they're really unable to come to terms with who they are. And it's a transition for all of us.
Yeah.
So this be kind to yourself. I'm working on it. We all needed to hear that today, John.
Good. I mean, yeah, good. I'm glad. I hope it's useful. I've really made an effort to do that myself. I don't because I don't always, and I think it's helpful. So I was just gonna say, for all you guys that are out there being mean to yourselves, you got to stop. Like you have to. Well, because what if you saw somebody else being mean to a third person, you would definitely be like, hey, cut that out. So if you're being mean to your first person, you got to stop it too.
Oh, look at you looking out for everybody. Well, we're going to have you back because like this is great for beginners. More and more people want to hear about like how you lost your 67 pounds. And we want to hear all those tips and good pieces of advice that you have for us like as we follow this weight loss journey. So John, thank you so much for
Thank
this
you.
great video. We look forward to seeing you next time. And everybody, hope you have a great rest of your day.
Bye, guys.